I get going?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, we're here. Week one's done. Didn't do quite what we had anticipated wanting to do. We've got plenty of work left to do. It's the time of year though where you really figure some things out about your team. One of the things that you always talk about is you make your biggest improvement from week one to week two. You get a little different sense of urgency from a game that you've been able to create in practice. And that's definitely the case of what we've experienced so far. We've got a tremendous undertaking this week with UCF, and they high-powered entire team, offensively and defensively. They're really, really good, and it's a huge undertaking for us. But our guys are still excited and positive. We had a good workout yesterday. I gave them off today, sent them home for Labor Day. They'll be back in the morning at 6 o'clock-ish, somewhere in that neck of the woods, to be able to practice and get ready for Central Florida.
So, Coach, you talk about making the biggest improvement from week one to week two. So how are you going to judge that improvement knowing that you're facing a real tough challenge against the self-proclaimed national champions?
Well, I guess it's kind of obvious that we've got a tough evaluation coming about. Central Florida is real good up front on both sides. And the one thing that I thought that we struggled some early in this game was trying to run the football. We like to be able to run the football, and that was not the case. We eventually got a drive going down the field where you could see what we were trying to attempt to be, and I don't know if that can be against these guys. We've actually already had a chance to see all of their UConn tape, and they've made a few guys in the room run and hide. Guys are looking from behind different kinds of screens and barriers and that kind of stuff, because those guys are that good. I saw them make a play or two against Connecticut that was really brutal. And let's face it, these guys are good. The Milton guy, their quarterback in Humming, they got that wide receiver kid from Ole Miss that transferred in there. He had about 100 yards receiving. They had 2 or 3 other guys. I think they had between 600 and 700 yards of total offense. And UConn ran 91 snaps against them. So if you can imagine, what the situation was there. UConn kept the football for I guess maybe 40% of the time. I think they had somewhere in the neighborhood of around I guess maybe 25%, 25 minutes of possession time, whereas I guess that leaves how much, Kendrick, over 35 minutes or something like that? How long is the game? 60 minutes?
Yeah.
Somewhere over that neck of the woods, but they kept the ball most of the game. And still, UConn had a bunch of yards. So, it's obvious. I mean, Central Florida had a bunch of yards, so it's obvious that those guys, will be a tough evaluation for us. But it's business as usual for us. The biggest thing is to make sure that we are pretty honest with ourselves about what we can and can't do against these guys. See if we can lean toward those directions where we've got the best opportunities for success. Try to stay away from some of those situations that might not be good matchups for us.
You've been in these type of games in the past. Mm-hmm. What's the key to going into a situation like this, keeping your guys mentally in the right spot? Mm-hmm. Because your schedule after this doesn't get easier from a conference standpoint. What you hope to accomplish this year all can be decided in September depending how you finish the final few weeks. So you've been in this situation. How do you keep the guys mentally sharp and ready to go through a game like this and make sure they don't lose focus on what you guys really can become following this game?
I think it's, first of all, an opportunity for us to play, in a big-time atmosphere. I think it'll be a lot of fun being in Bright House this coming Saturday night. And, there'll be rolling out all the different kinds of honors and accolades, from the off season, and it'll be a lot of fun just to kind of be in that atmosphere So we'll get a chance to play a lot of guys. We'll take maybe 65, 70 guys down there. And one of the things that I've actually asked our coaches to do is to make sure that they take advantage of the new rule where you can actually play some of your young guys and not necessarily lose some year of eligibility that way. So not only will we be excited about the guys who are ordinarily our front line guys who will be able to play against these guys, we'll also be able to play some of our young guys too. So we'll try to see if we can do the best job we can of playing the best game we can and staying as healthy as we can, kind of making sure that we give our guys an opportunity to be successful that way. And at that point, then we let the chips fall where they may. As the game transpires, you know, we'll kind of use the information that we're gathering to make sure that we make the best decisions within the game. We don't want to kind of be standing there seeing, you know, something not being, you know, going in our order, going in our favor, what have you, and us not reacting appropriately that way. So we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we get through the game and do a good job of putting on a good show and being able to, let me tell you what, hang around. What we like to do is try to hang around a situation like this and all you want to do is try to have your shot. You know, if you get that opportunity at the end, if you can do that, then you know that you feel like you've been, you know, somewhat successful.
How do you gauge that improvement from week 1 to week 2 with such a big challenge? I mean, you only had 3 penalties in the last game. Is it just more rushing yards, or what do you really?
Yeah, I think we got to do a better job of running the football or doing whatever we decide, you know, is going to be, you know, our main method of being able to have success in this game, whether it be running the ball, whether it be mixing up, whether it be throwing the ball more. I'm not necessarily going to sit here and say we going to Central Florida and try to do this. You know, that's not how it works. You know, them guys got enough advantages already for me to sit here and tell you exactly what we want to do. But I can tell you that we need to do a good job as a coaching staff of designing our attack for this particular week. And then from there, you know, our kids just need to continue to play hard. The one thing you can always bet about a South Carolina State football team is that those guys going to fight you. You know, they're going to play hard. And, you know, even in the Georgia Southern game this past weekend, you know, we didn't necessarily play as well as I would have liked. But there never was a time that I didn't feel like we gave it our best, gave it our all. And, you know, our kids will continue to do that. Our young men, I maybe ought to say, you know, we'll do that. And I think you can, you know, use that all as kind of an evaluation kind of a tool for you.
That's interesting. You just said you didn't feel like some of your younger guys gave it their all. Is that disappointing when you look back at the tape and say, where was that effort? Where was that?
Well, if I said that, I made a mistake. I said I thought our guys gave it their all.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't hear it right. Okay, well then that eliminates that question. So then my other question would be from an offensive standpoint. Are you guys trying to do more in the passing game? It seemed that Georgia Southern just not have the ball enough.
We need to try to do more. I don't know if we necessarily were realistic in that particular plan about what we could or what we needed to do. I thought we needed to mix it up a little bit more. And we've addressed that as we go through this particular plan, that we need to be a little more balanced than we were. We tried to run the football, and it was a deal where we got into a game or two, we had a couple drop balls. That was kind of discouraging. We had some other issues that happened. We had a couple protection issues. But the bottom line was we didn't attempt to do quite as much as we needed to do in that game. And, you know, as we get a little bit better understanding of, you know, of the personnel and the abilities, the skill sets of these guys, then I think that we'll be able to do a little bit better job of designing things that they can have an opportunity to be successful with.
You gonna stick with the quarterback situation, kind of using both kids?
Yeah, I think so. We felt kind of like, you know, Dwan was a little bit of a victim of some of the circumstances that not necessarily were his issues. But at the same time, we are going to try to figure out which of those guys, by the time we get deep into the conference race, is going to be the guy. And we played Corey Fields a little bit. He got a chance to play the last year. It wasn't pretty, but he got a little bit of a baptism of sorts. He got in there and got knocked around a little bit, and and had an opportunity to say he's a college football player. We had about 19 guys, who played for the first time, either freshman or redshirt freshman this past Saturday. So that's a good many guys to get going almost at one time. So we had some interesting kinds of things going on out there with some of the youth that we had coming into this, into the playing at South Carolina State University's football program.
Did any of those young guys really stand out to you with how they performed, even though
Yeah,
under the
a couple of
circumstances?
them did. On offense, Omar Cummins, I thought was pretty good. The wide receiver guy,
Will.
Yeah, Will Vereen, I thought had, some success. On defense, Jaden Brunson, Jalen, oh gosh, yeah, Evans and I guess 2 or 3 more. Hey, let me see if I can look through this
Kick
thing, man.
return guy.
Yeah,
Tayshaun
Tyson Bain,
Tayshaun Bain.
was pretty good. We had some guys who had, I really think that the Bain kid is got a chance to be, kind of special that way. I told him, I said, we need to figure out some other things we can do with you because he looks like a guy, who can really be a college football player. Set out last year and has been with us now just, I guess, maybe doing camp. And really looks like he belongs. So we got some guys out there look like they might be able to help us on. Yeah.
When you play teams like this, I think some of the disparity might not be just in your first team guys, but the lack of perhaps functional depth as you go throughout. You play a team at Georgia Southern or UCF. So just from last week, what did you like out of your first team group defensively and how they were able to really hang around and keep Georgia Southern at bay in that first half?
But I thought they did a nice job of keeping us in the game. And, it was one of those games where we were like a score or two. We were 2 scores out from, going into the second half. And